Josep Borrell, the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, is calling the EU poor. And we will tell you all about it. But before that, if you're a fan of non-corporate funded free news and analysis, you've landed on the right YouTube channel. We publish 3 videos a day. First at 9:15 a.m. EST, second at 1:30 p.m. EST, and the third at 5:30 p.m. EST. So if that's of interest to you, next time your anemic friend tries to pick up a fight, ask it to stop fighting and begin iron supplements instead. Okay, let's begin.
It's my grandma!
On the 2-year anniversary of Russia's special military operation in Ukraine, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg delivered a proclamation that could only be described as bold or perhaps just stating the obvious. He announced with a flourish worthy of a Shakespearean drama that Ukraine is now closer to NATO than ever before. It appears that being subjected to a mismatched fight does wonders for international camaraderie. Stoltenberg outlined the myriad ways NATO is cozying up to Ukraine, including making their armed forces play nice with NATO allies, opening a swanky new joint center for analysis, training and education in Poland, and beefing up their political relationship through the NATO-Ukraine Council. The cherry on top, Ukraine joining NATO isn't a matter of if, but a tantalizing when. Meanwhile, the European Union, always the bridesmaid and never the bride in international defense matters, is humming a remarkably different tune. Josep Borrell, the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, effectively held up a sign that read, "We have no weapons." In what could be mistaken for a plea at a fundraising gala, he mentioned his desire to borrow money as well. The contrast between NATO's armored embrace of Ukraine and the EU's financial serenading could not be starker. After 2 long years of what can only be described as an extremely resource-intensive war, the European Union's armory is starting to look a bit like my fridge before payday, alarmingly empty. Josep Borrell, the man who probably has "I told you so" framed on his office wall, penned a riveting piece about how this whole debacle has shifted from a war of who has more stuff to a war of who can make stuff faster, and Russia is winning that one. In his exposé, Borrell sheds light on the European defense industry's landscape, which is made up of a few big names and numerous small to medium-sized enterprises trying to sit at the cool kids' table. According to him, this exclusive party is hosted by a few member states, accounting for a whopping 90% of the total European defense industry. This industry, a not so modest enterprise with a turnover of 70 billion euros, employs 500,000 people. However, Borrell points out a slight hiccup in this otherwise flourishing industry. It only meets about 40% of Europe's defense needs. Yes, the rest, much like a frantic last-minute Christmas shopping spree, is imported. Over the last couple of years, Europe's shopping list has only gotten longer thanks to their daydreams about Russia's alleged expansionist policies. A staggering 78% of defense procurement was outsourced beyond EU borders. Meanwhile, the European defense industry, in a classic case of do as I say, not as I do, exports 40 to 50% of its production to non-EU countries. The irony, the stuff they are sending out is not exactly what they are bringing in. It's like trading in your grandma's old silverware in hopes of getting a shiny Smith & Wesson. The Eurozone, featuring 20 countries clinging to the euro like a life raft, managed to hit the thrilling height of absolutely zero growth in the October to December quarter, as per Eurostat's teaser trailer. This riveting performance followed a previous season's cliffhanger where GDP took a daring dive of 0.1%. Meanwhile, the broader European Union, with its ensemble cast of 27 member states, showcased some creative accounting, narrowly escaping the dreaded recession plotline by what can only be described as a financial sleight of hand. In a subplot, our financial strategist-in-chief, Josep Borrell, is pitching the idea of borrowing money. In his latest blog, which could double as a cheap novel, he teases an upcoming debate on the EU's newest adventure, joint borrowing to beef up their defense capabilities and industry. Borrell, in a moment of cliff-hanging suspense, hints that while this saga won't conclude during the current term, it's a storyline he believes should definitely be pursued. So NATO is flush with arms, EU is building an army, and EU is out of money? Someone explain this math to me. Talking of the EU army, it has been euthanized. Here is a video that explains everything.